I'm gonna take a walk today. Never really explored here before. It's next to a swamp. I have some of that green chert in my little napping bag here. And I think I'm gonna hike around in here and find a good spot to set up a tarp and to try to make one of my knives. Around here, about 10,000 years ago, there was Paleo Indians hunting here and gathering. They used stone tools, and the tools they used here were a couple different cherts. The prominent one found here is a green chert. It's a very glossy green, and that's from New York State. Then there's a few others. There's something called felsite, and that's not such a good material, but imagine 13,000 years ago when you needed to eat, you used what you could get. Have to walk through that, I guess. So I have a bad habit of sinking knee-deep into muck. So I'm gonna try to avoid it this time. Okay. Alright. So, back to what I was saying. And as far as I know, there was only one. It's called a fluted point. Or Clovis point, but they don't really call it Clovis up here. There was only one broken point found here at a temporary hunt camp near the main river. And I haven't gotten a chance to look at that point yet. But the size of the fluted points around here are generally this big. And I attribute that to quality of the material, because there's a lot of cracks in it and flaws, as well as you're traveling a lot and you're sharpening it down as your tools break. If you're using them for hardcore activity like hunting caribou, which is what they did here, if you're throwing a spear and you miss and you hit a tree, it's gonna at least dull the point a little bit. So you're gonna want to sharpen it up after a missed throw, or if you hit it and you hit bone. If you hit bone, you're more likely to break something. The majority of what was found in Connecticut was green chert from New York State, and the points are about this big, maybe a little bigger. Somebody in Massachusetts found one that was pretty big. So I have some of that green chert in my little napping bag here. And I think I'm gonna hike around in here and find a good spot to set up a tarp and to try to make one of my knives. I have to find some kind of clearing or something. It's pretty brambly. But anyway, keep walking. Find something eventually, somewhere to set up. So I'm still walking. I haven't found anything suitable yet. It's very swampy. That's all water, it's all flooded. So there's nowhere to set up a tarp just yet. I love how quiet it is here. Been walking a while. There's a big hill behind me with some rocks on it, and let's see if you could see over here. Back there is one of New England's rock walls. And the theory is that farmers here, when they were colonizing, put in these rock walls to separate their livestock. But they're kind of everywhere and they stretch for miles, so I don't know. Okay, let's go walk up to that shit. Yeah, the trail goes right past the rock wall here, so I'll be able to show you. And that goes in a straight line, cuts across the trail here. And it's literally just stacked rocks. Goes for quite a ways, and if you look here, one's going this way, one's going that way, and another one's going that way. Interesting things in the woods here. You come across some strange stuff sometimes. I think I might set up near the rock walls up over there. So we're at a little bit of a crossroads on the path here. There's a big hill up there, and the rock wall goes right up the hill. Yeah, this spot feels pretty good. I think I'll sit up here, maybe right in the path. The reason I'm putting this tarp down right there is because I don't want any of my flakes of stone to get scattered here. I want to take it with me on the way out to make sure that nobody accidentally finds this and thinks it's an archaeological site. We definitely don't want that. I am in school to try to become an archaeologist. I have a long road ahead of me though. I have a lot of experience in archaeology. Been doing this for a long time, maybe 12 years. Some of it volunteer archaeology, some of it paid archaeology. A lot of consulting work, working for a museum, and a battlefield project, as well as some cultural resource management. But my last cultural resource job, I started working the job right as soon as I got sick. And halfway through my semester in college, I found out I had thyroid cancer. So I had to put everything on hold. I lost the job, and I got all that sorted out. I got my whole thyroid taken out. There was also thyroid cancer inside the lymph nodes all around here, and they were taken out as well. I got a huge dose of radiation, and I was very sick for like a year after that, trying to recover and adjusting to hormones. I'm still adjusting to hormones, and it's kind of driving me nuts a little bit, but it's been 4 years since then. And in the meantime, I've been making knives out of this material and other material, some Texas rock, but this is rock from New York. You can see it's not too great, and I spalled these off a much longer, bigger rock. Now the reason I knocked them into this shape is because it's big enough to be a knife. It's the size of my hand, and it's easier to transport. Now, I brought a few of them with me because the way I shape these tools doing my flint knapping is a high risk of failure on these, especially with this material. It's not the best material possible. You'd have to dig down pretty deep to get good stuff, and this is not that deep. So it has all kinds of weathering. You can see some here that you have to knock away. But most people won't knap stuff like this unless it's completely smooth and glassy. Most people will not even attempt it. And this is all I work. This is all I've been working for 10 years now. Rough material, sturdy material, rough material, hard to work material. And I've learned a lesson recently. Wear some kind of glasses. I got a flake stuck right in my eye, and luckily it didn't injure me. I just pulled it out, and no injury, but it went right into my tear duct. So I figured from now on I should probably wear eye protection. And I should probably wear gloves too, but I can't get the same control of the rock when I'm barehanded, I have way more control of where the flakes go compared to when I wear a glove. When I wear a glove, it doesn't turn out so good. But anyway, I'm going to show you the basics of how I do this. So normally, the way ancient people did this was they used a heavy rock and an antler. Now, because of my shoulder, which has been hurting because of the hormones, hurts bad. It's called frozen shoulder. And when I get a flare-up of this, it lasts months. And I have to take it real easy. But normally, I like to use what's called, I don't like the term, I don't like using it, but they call it ABO tools. I call it traditional tools. I nap with traditional tools. But since I'm hurt so bad, I'm going to take a little bit of a shortcut and use copper. Now I'll show you what that looks like. Now this is for the delicate work, and this one's for the heavy duty work. And it's pretty heavy. And that'll work. That's enough to make my knives. So I'm just going to show you what it looks like to make these. This is not an instructional video. This is just me doing my thing. Maybe I'll speed it up, maybe I won't. Anyway, gonna get started. I don't think I'm gonna talk too much unless I want to explain something I'm doing. We'll get started now. So what I'm doing is when I hit this there, it will peel off part of the rock. Now this is razor sharp. This alone can butcher an entire deer, as is. And that came right off of there. See where those two smack marks are? Now the other thing I do is I take a coarse stone, or in this case it's a, look, it's just a coarse piece of stone, and I grind the edges to make it easier to peel those flakes off. Now this is just a super quick knife demonstration of how to make it. We're getting down to the accurate size of the knife. Now this will be good for fishing. This size is perfect because it doesn't put too much pressure in the middle when you're using it. Anything bigger, the bigger you get, the more chance of breaking it has. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shape this now. And this is the size of my favorite knife, the knife I go fishing with all the time, and the knife I go hunting with. It might actually be a little smaller than that. It's easy to carry, it's super sharp, it's just as sharp as the big ones, it's just as sturdy as the big ones. And I'll be doing a larger one in another video, but this one is just to show you how these are made and what they are capable of, and that's in other videos. But right now we're just kind of hanging out and doing some flint knapping in the woods. This material here, getting low on it, and the stuff I have left is not of the best quality. And you could see that brown right there is actually weathering inside the rock, which causes a weak point, which caused it to snap right here. Would have been a little bit bigger, about that big. But we'll work with this. You know, the one time I film it, everything explodes on me. Busted into 3 pieces. Alright. I'll try another piece I have. Alright, so we got the basic knife shape going. As you can see, it's still not the best material, but we'll make do with what we have. And I'll finish this up, and we'll start the process of putting it on a handle. Alright, basic shaping, I'm going to call that done. I'm going to sharpen it up with a hand pad and a little piece of copper. Very, very sharp. If you look carefully, you can see all the little impurities in there and crystals. And that really interferes with working on things and making them how you want them to be. But this is good. This is good for what we're going for out here. And this is about the size of the tools they used 13,000, 10,000 years ago. Now, I'll show you what's left over from that big piece of rock. All that right there. All those flakes. And that's why we put the tarp down. To catch all of it and to bring it home with us. I'll clean this up and we'll cut a branch for a handle. And we'll get working on that. Now all of our flakes are nice and tight inside the tarp. I'll throw it in my bag and we could get going. Alright, and I'll just show you, just so you can see. No disturbance, no flakes on the ground. Didn't leave anything behind. That's the way it should be if you're doing this. Alright, so what I'm going to do... Man, I'm beat from doing that. I'm going to walk around and look for a good handle for that little knife. Now, the people that follow me that want to use these tools, the way to resharpen them, not that you ever should really have to resharpen them, you take a tip of antler or a tip of copper and you put it inside a wooden handle. You drill a hole and you put the copper or the antler in there and you glue it in real good. And when I'll show this in another video, but when you're sharpening it, you push the antler or copper straight into the rock and then pop down. Don't know if that makes any sense, but I'll show you in another video. Right now we're just not really doing an instructional video at all. We're just exploring a little bit and having some fun and showing you how I do my Stone knives. This tree actually looks good. It's falling down, so I'll take off the top where it's more dead. I'm gonna make the handle slightly thicker, just so I have more material to work with. Alright. It's thick, but it'll do. Bug landed on the screen. This edge right here. We use this tool to take the bark off. I'm just going to do this fast. You can see it all gunking up on there. Just rub it off. And this is how you would shape your wood tools with stone. Now, I wouldn't use one of those knives to do this. I would use a flake like this. A throwaway flake. Because this will dull it really fast. Good enough. Now I'm gonna start hollowing out a notch. And I'll start where it broke here. We'll use the same tool. I'm probably not gonna show all of this because it'll take forever. You're just gonna want to take a sharp edge and keep cutting. One way, one way, one way, the other way, one way, and as you can see, very slowly it makes cuts. So we'll do that for a bit, and I'll get back to you when I get a groove cut in this thing. Hopefully it's not dark by then. Alright. Could go a little bit deeper, but for now, that's how I'm gonna do it. Handle's a little bit too long too, but super, super sharp. Looks good to me. So what I'm gonna do now is I have to find something to make my glue with. I brought sinew with me. I'll try to find a puddle somewhere to soak it in. I'm sure there's a puddle somewhere in a swamp, right? Gotta be somewhere. About the charcoal that I need for the glue. I don't know what to do about that, but I have an idea. The knife is just about finished. And this would be perfect for a fish knife. Just need a shorter handle. What I mean by a fish knife, on the Wooded Beardsman's channel, as well as One Wild Crafter, they used a small green chert knife about that size, and an obsidian blade that I made that I shouldn't have sent them. I don't like obsidian, I just sent it because I had it. But I know better now. When I send those guys anything, it's gonna be this stuff. It's gonna be the good stuff. The stuff that stands up to abuse. The stuff that you could drop on a rock 10 times and it doesn't break. Obsidian breaks. But anyway, they used one of my knives to cut up fish. And I believe Jeremy, One Wild Crafter, actually filleted a fish with one of these. So, perfect size. We'll also skin a deer. Perfect size. And I'll give a demo of one this size in another video, but for now we're just making it. Having some fun out here in the woods. Leaves are starting to come back. It's starting to feel like spring. I'm a little overheated. I'm wearing a flannel jacket here. So we'll start walking, and we'll find a place to make that pitch. Pretty happy with this. Can't wait to test it. Look at that. Look at those colors. Holy shit. It's really got some pretty colors in there. There we go. Sorry for putting my face so close to the camera when I'm talking to you. I'm just holding the camera. I don't have a stick or anything, a stabilization stick, so for now you get to see extreme close-ups of me. I know that makes you feel uncomfortable, but whatever. 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 Alright. I think I inhaled a bug. A long walk back to the car. I'm gonna head back to the car. I got something in there that I could use. But it's such a long way back. I really, I have to go get more of this material. I'm running out of good stuff. This one I left a little thick in the middle, which I don't usually do, but I didn't want to risk breaking it. If you look, there's a little bump here, and I left that there because of all this crud in there. See that line? If I tried to thin that from this angle, it probably would have broken half, because that's an imperfection. But it used as is. It won't affect the quality of the knife any. It won't affect the performance of the knife. Usually projectile points thrown or shot from an arrow were thinner for more penetration, but that's not the purpose of these. These are cutting tools. They are cutting tools. On this knife, I want to shave this down a bit so that it's flush with that, so when I glue it, it transitions nicely. I'm carrying this big bag of tools through the woods. It's freaking heavy. Trees coming down over the path look cool. Being able to hike again is good. I wasn't able to do this for a good 2 years. And I'm really grateful for it. I love nature, I love the woods. I think back to before everything, and I kind of did take my health for granted. I think everybody does, though. It's not until something like that happens to you till you really start to appreciate what you're capable of, what your body's capable of, and how you interact with the world. Things are getting better. Things were really hard. And things get easier. I'll show you what I see. There's one of those rock walls again. It's still really cool. It's still really cool to me. I'm not used to seeing this. I'm originally from Long Island. We didn't even really have woods there. So about that appreciating your health thing. If you have a woods, if you have forests, go and enjoy them. Go use them, enjoy them. And Get outdoors. Get outdoors if you can. I missed out on almost 2 years of this. I wasn't able to walk more than 20 steps before I was exhausted and having heart palpitations and chest pain, and it's just slowly getting better. It's a slow transition. It's a brand new me. It's an entirely different me. It's taken some adjustment. Maybe I'll just use this puddle here to make the sinew good to go. Yeah, I think I'll come back here. But I don't have a stabilization rod for this yet, so hopefully it's not bouncy and making you seasick. If it is, I'm sorry, and let me know if it is. Gotta climb over that junk. Just that I make soon. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a little bit of charcoal to make my secret glue. This glue makes it way sturdier, but I'm not giving the secret away. Alright, so now what I'm gonna do first is try to trim this. This will pop right out. Put that in my pocket, and I'll be right back after that's trimmed. So I shaped this more, I smoothed it out, I got more of the bark off, but I'm running low on battery here, so I think we got to speed it up a little bit. So what I'll do is I'll put the glue in there and we'll let it sit for a minute, and then we'll figure out what to do with the sinew. Alright, so we got the glue mixture. We really should mix it up, make sure it's good and sticky, and when it dries, we'll have a really good glue. Just put that right in there. Take the point. I want to make sure it's in there good, but you got to be careful here that you don't cut yourself while putting it in. So it's in, and now we got to smooth out that glue. Okay. Where did my stick go? There it is. So I just try to smooth it out so that it looks a little bit nicer. You gotta make sure it's on the blade. Okay, so now we'll let this dry and we'll figure out what to do with the sinew. Alright, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our sinew. This is off of a white-tailed deer. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit this with the moose antler against a rock to be able to get peels of sinew off of here. Now the trick of that is finding a rock. Here's a rock. Okay, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna continue to let the knife dry. I'm gonna take the sinew and just pound it. I'll speed this up. Takes a while. Okay, so now you can see it separates. And that's what we're going to use as our cordage. So while the knife is drying, we're going to go back to that puddle and we're going to put the sinew in it and let it sit. And then we're going to wrap the knife. And the knife is just about done. it'll be able to be used tomorrow once everything sets and dries. And if you want, I'll make another video on using this. And let me know. Let me know if you want me to do that. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do, because it's cool as shit. Using a rock as a knife. Just something you find out in the wild, and you put it to use. If you know what you're doing, you could do this. You could do this with glass, some ceramic, like a ceramic tile floor. That could be a knife. It'll get dull fast, but it works. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is just let this sit in the water for a minute. You only need a short amount of time. Peel off a piece like that, and just throw it in the water and let it sit there for a moment. Make sure it goes under. And you don't really need too much of this, but if you want it to look really cool and primitive, use a bunch. So now it's wet, and I'm just going to take it and wrap it around like that. And you're going to want to do that a few times so that you have, when this dries, it shrinks and it grabs the rock, and it'll adhere to all of this and pull it all together really nicely, and it'll be really sturdy. You'll be able to use it. So I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. Alright, got it mostly wrapped up now. Do a little bit more support around the base. And as this dries, like I said, it'll stick to itself and shrink and grab it. We got one more to go, one more to put on, and we're done with this knife till it dries. This stuff you don't want on there, it's junk. Just pick that off as best as you can. Okay. And we now have, as soon as it dries, a very, very effective, usable chert stone knife. Very effective. And I will be demonstrating just how effective these are, these knives, which is very, very effective. I prefer these over steel. Now I know a lot of people are like, steel is better. People use this for hundreds of thousands of years. Pre-humans, humans, even us right now, I use them. Always go with the oldest. The oldest is always the best. Okay, I guess I'll get back to you. We'll pack everything up, get it out, go home, I'll eat dinner, I'll let that dry, and I'll let you see what it looks like when it's dry. See you in a bit. I just wanted to film what this looked like when it was finished. There's cool colors in there. So, this is what I made out in the woods. And this is my knife that I use for everything. Little tiny dude. Compare the sizes of the two. This one's a little bigger. But this is what I use when I'm fishing. I skinned a squirrel with this. And still razor sharp. Perfect little tools.